And based on everything that you said about some of the decisions and the statements that LeBron James has made, I'll be blunt. It's the first thing I thought of. Was he vaxxed?
LeBron James's son, who is going to be a freshman at USC, he collapsed yesterday during some workouts, suffered cardiac arrest, is now in stable condition. Of course, almost immediately, speculation turns to the vaccine and myocarditis. People are sending out old stories of LeBron James saying that, I took the vax and I thought it was best for me and my entire family. Steve, is it fair? Should we be instantly discussing the vaccine as it relates to Bronny James and his unfortunate collapse, cardiac arrest yesterday?
Well, good afternoon, Jason. Well, in terms of this story, number one, first and foremost, your thoughts go out to the James family. No matter what we think of LeBron and some of his stances or even our opinions of him as an athlete, first and foremost, you hope that he has a son that is living a normal functioning life and you care about his health. Now, in relationship to all that you mentioned, there is a time and a place, in my view, and you can make a judgment, or anyone can, about when is it too soon. Based on what has happened and transpired in our country the last 3 years and how this issue was politicized and, according to some, jammed down our throats, yes, you can question it. You could say it's too early, okay, but what's the cutoff point? Is it 24 hours grace period? Because I'll be honest with you, my human reaction was this. This morning, I had to wake up extra early to watch a title fight from Japan with Inoue and Fulton. I'm doing the Coach JB show, and at that point, my phone starts buzzing, and the big story was that LeBron James, who you would figure for his age is a world-class athlete, has been a public figure, collapses from cardiac arrest. And based on everything that you said about some of the decisions and the statements that LeBron James has made, I'll be blunt. It's the first thing I thought of. Was he vaxxed?
So the first thing that I think of and why I'm a tiny bit hesitant to talk about the vax thing is because I think it's all speculative, one, but two, and I'll lead in the speculation, the cynic in me doesn't think for 1 second LeBron James and his family took the vaccine. And if they did, LeBron's dumber than I thought. I thought LeBron early on expressed some vaccine hesitancy that I thought was smart and the right instincts. And I've always assumed that LeBron never took the vax and that he said that he did because that's what you have to do out in Hollywood. And if you're a celebrity and you're an influencer, but it's very difficult for me to believe that LeBron James, as great athlete as he is, as genetically blessed as he is, why would he take the vax? And then, Lord have mercy, why would he let his young children, anybody with any common sense knows that this COVID thing had no impact on young people. And LeBron, with all his wealth and everything, I just assume no way his boys or little girl or wife took the vaccine. And I just sincerely believe that, or LeBron is just dumber than I thought.
Well, we're back to the conspiracy theories again. I mean, look, is that the craziest, wackiest thing to think or to hypothesize? Probably not. But it goes beyond Bronny. It's the whole movement of or the messaging that we are seeing. If you go on Twitter, you go on any form of social media, there are dedicated accounts to talking about otherwise healthy, relatively young people just simply collapsing, like that soccer announcer that I talked about on ESPN that just keeled over. right before I came on, I saw an old tweet of his or a message where he's pushing people to get vaxxed. That is why people all over the world are saying, wait a minute, we have to be suspicious of this whole thing. Is at what point do your medical decisions start to impede on mine? And I'll tell you when they do. When you start telling me when I should do it, why I should do it, and when you try to give me a guilty conscience. And, one of the great things about walking away from ESPN when I did, my last day was October 31st, 2020, is that I did not have that decision to make. You either get vaxxed or you keep your job, or you can't travel to do your job. And I'll be the first to tell you, I don't ever plan on getting the vaccine. I haven't gotten it thus far. I don't feel as though I've needed it. I'm someone that had COVID once. I got through it. I'm still alive. I feel as though I'm in the best shape of my life. So there's things about that vaccine that I did not like. And I also felt it was unnecessary given my personal physical fitness. But again, I would never tell anyone that they shouldn't, though. That's where I draw the line. Is like, this is my choice with my body. Remember that? My choice, my body. Funny how it applies to certain things, but not others. But anyway, I would never. In fact, you know what? I don't even want to ever wear a mask again. And I find it odd when I'm driving down the road, I see a guy, relatively young people, walking their dogs with a mask, or someone at a ball game, 60,000 people with a mask. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what, though? I cannot be hypocritical. That is their choice, not mine.
Steve, I'm right there with you, and I'm someone that is overweight, but I was not going to take the vax. I was going to rely on the system that God gave me, and some advice from Dr. Zelensky, God rest his soul, and the Z-Pack, and just taking vitamin D and zinc, and the Z-Pack, and when I did get COVID, Dr. Zelensky sent me ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, and I recovered within 36 hours, mostly. There was some brain fog that lingered around for a couple of weeks, but other than that, I had a bad headache for a day, and that started to dissipate as soon as I took the ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, and I haven't looked back since. Taking the Z-Pack virtually every day since, and so I look at me. If I'm in my 50s and in the risk categories, and LeBron James is one of the greatest athletes of all time, keeps himself in supreme shape, and had the initial skepticism about the vaccine, it's hard for me to believe that they actually talked him into taking it and then talked his kids into taking it. And again, I don't know what schools his kids were going to. Maybe his son couldn't play on the basketball team if he didn't take the vax. But even at that, I would think they would have found out a way to fake the vaccine. I know plenty of people that paid $100 to get the fake vax, or to get some nurse to squirt the vax into a trash can and say they gave it to him. I just assume that's what these athletes with all this money and resources did. And so that's why I'm a little bit uncomfortable just assuming that this is vax related. And that goes a little bit with my discomfort with Jamie Foxx. It's like all that money, all that access, and Jamie Foxx took the vax? Really? I don't think Joe Biden took the vax. I don't think any of these, half these people that are pretending to have taken the vax, I don't believe they have, but again, I could be wrong, and we're certainly having that discussion today about Bronny James. I see myocarditis is trending over Twitter X, and everybody's talking about whether Bronny James took the vax.
Jason,
I'd have to see some definitive proof.
You know what?
I gotta see the blood work before I believe it.
Well, okay. Here's the unfortunate part. We will never get honest, fair coverage of this because when these companies, these pharmaceutical corporations, are buying millions and billions of dollars of ad space. They are basically saying we are now censoring you. So this issue becomes a huge elephant in the room. Watch any sporting event, and eventually you will see these companies advertising. So I look at this in different ways. When the athletes were told to be inside the bubble and to play during that period of time, you had to be vaccinated, right? Or you went through a different set of protocols like Aaron Rodgers. Well, number one, now that becomes marketing. These players are not just lab rats. They're satisfied customers, right? So then if anything happens, now the news departments at these networks, and they're like, wait a minute, they just paid $3.2 billion for ad space for the next 6 months. And so now it becomes this really uncomfortable truth between news, editorial, and then the advertising department and business. And so it's just this thing where we will never actually get real honest coverage. And Jason, I'm not going to lie to you. Anytime I see one of these stories on Twitter, I make sure I retweet it because I feel as though that's just one small contribution that I can make to letting people know, hey, guys, don't judge me. I won't judge you, but this is what's going on. You can decipher for yourself what you think is taking place.
Help us grow the Fearless Army. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all of your fearless friends.